What's a pirate's favorite letter?
You've done this before.
Oh, so I've told you a joke already?
Yes.
Oh.
So I was like trying to Mexican stand off you because I know what you think I'm going to say, and then I was trying to preemptively say what you would say. For the audience, I'll say the pirate's favorite letter is or. Are you kidding? Of course it's the C.
You think so, but the C be here first, love.
See? I went one step ahead of you. It's a good joke.
I forgot I told you already.
Yeah. I think you've told me multiple times
Have I?
that joke. Yeah.
Had I been
You
drinking...
probably told the audience multiple times.
You do read my blog.
So hey you, and welcome back to another episode of the That Chapter podcast. I'm joined once again by Keith, sitting directly across from me. He's wearing his usual black Adidas t-shirt that he always wears. He's got his... You do wear that shirt a lot.
Yeah.
Or do you have multiple of the same shirt?
No.
You just like Adidas. You're an Adidas guy. I've noticed. You like Adidas, the brand.
I like the branding.
You have shoes, Adidas, you have a hat.
No, but I have a Nike shoes. I have an Adidas hat, though. I have an Adidas jumper. I like the Adidas
You're an
branding.
Adidas boy.
Cool.
You're an Adidazzler.
Yeah, Natty Dazzler.
There, yeah. He's got his tattoos. He's wearing his glasses. He's got his hair pulled up into a ponytail.
I do. Yeah, it's warm in here.
It's a sweaty one. That's why I
Yeah.
like it. I like to keep it hot. I like to keep it hot for the guests.
I'm glad you blew out the candle, though, because I was definitely sucking all the air out of the room.
Hey, it's not going to be anything that's sucking tonight. But,
Ooh,
you know, hey, very nice. Very nice. But, you know, it added to the ambience.
It did.
You know, I like to think that listeners at home listen to this podcast. They light up some candles and hear us make fart noises out of our mouth. Kind of what makes it. So, Keith, what's going on with you?
Not a lot, man. Not much.
Guest wants to know. They see me multiple times a week on the videos. I'm boring. I'm old news.
Not much going on. I have that black cat keeps coming around, so
Yeah?
I definitely, Well, I keep feeding it, so
Cool.
that's why. It's a nice cat, though. Well, I'm kind of torn between the names, so we're trying to. I feel at this stage, I've seen the cat so many times. He's seen me naked in the shower.
There you go. He's seen everything.
Yeah, we've built up a bit of a rapport, so I think I need to give him a name at this point. So I don't know. I'm deciding between two names. I like the
Fart juice.
My daughter likes the name Salem. Did you say fart juice?
Yes, I think it's great. And let the audience decide. How about we put it to a vote?
Okay.
I can put a poll attached to this episode on Spotify. And how about we give it three names.
Okay.
Fart juice is one.
Fart juice is one.
And then we'll see what's your ones?
My daughter likes Salem, and I like Philip.
Black Phillip. Which is
well,
good.
his full name is Black Phillip. But,
Yeah.
you know, to his friends, he would just be called Philip or Phil.
Philly.
Yeah. Phil. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that because he's a black cat. Black Phillip is pretty good. I think they're good. All right, audience, we'll let you decide fart juice, Philip, or Salem.
Fart juice.
I like fart juice.
I hope that wins.
Yeah, me too. All right, so today we are talking about a modern true crime murder mystery. This is actually a story I covered on the channel. That chapter, youtube.com/that chapter. Give it a you. I covered it a while back. When I say a while back, I mean
Couple of years,
like 2020. Oof. We're recording this at the end of 2023. It'll go up in 2024. 4 years ago, I'll have made that video. Fucking hell, where is time fly? I've been making videos on YouTube since 2017. September 2017.
Look how far you've come, huh?
Man, it's wild.
It's been a wild ride.
Yeah. Well, anyway, who cares? Moving on. Nobody wants. I don't like talking about myself. You know that. Let's talk about something else.
Let's talk about murderers.
Yeah, let's talk about that. It's much more interesting. So this whole video, or fucking podcast. I'm making the podcast, not on videos. So this whole podcast takes us to Knoxville, Tennessee, Thanksgiving, and to the mighty year of 2016. Thanksgiving. Have you ever celebrated Thanksgiving? You lived in Canada, which you very rarely bring up. Only like once or twice a year.
I don't think I've ever brought it up. Actually.
No, you don't like mention it. Yeah. Canadians have Thanksgiving, right?
They do.
It's different to the American Thanksgiving.
Yeah, it's earlier, I think. Like, what's Thanksgiving is the 24th of November?
Third Thursday of November.
Okay, the third Thursday. I think it's early November. I can't remember. It's been a couple of years now since I've been in Canada.
I think so. I think it's closer to Halloween, right?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, it's the fourth Thursday in November. Sorry, Thanksgiving in America falls on the fourth Thursday of November. So it's usually, from the 22nd to like the 28th.
Okay. Yeah, if we celebrate, it's very similar to what we'd do here at Christmas, I guess. Like, we'd have like...
Yeah, it's like American Thanksgiving. It's kind of like much the same. Just turkey, ham,
get-togethers, family get-together,
yeah,
board games. We've actually, just with my own family, with Christmas, we've had to ban board games in our house.
Really?
Yeah, too many fights.
Really?
Yeah, no, honestly.
What do you, like you and your dad or whatever?
No, the whole family. My dad, my mom, my aunt, my uncle, my cousin, my sister. Too many fights. We had to ban it. So
Your dad is so funny.
He's gas.
Your dad is very, very funny, man.
He's a gas man. But we had to ban it like on the years. It was banned, and we've
Really?
only recently kind of started bringing it back.
You're like gingerly.
like with seriously strict rules.
Wow.
To like the point where there has to be like someone there that's not playing, like a referee, just to keep an eye, make sure there's no cheating.
Wow. Yeah. Backstabbing.
I don't know why we're doing it. It's not fun anymore.
Just don't even want to get into this shit anymore.
It's so stressful now. I honestly don't know why we're doing it to ourselves. But
Yeah.
it's like we're having fun, okay? We're having fun.
Enjoy this.
You're cheating. Look at all your money. No, I'm not. I was winning. I get down this wall.
And they're like stupid games as well. It's not even like hard games. We're playing. It's a game called 30 Seconds. Did you ever play that?
No. 30 seconds. What's that?
It's a card game. So you say we're playing it. So I pick up a card. On my card, I have 5 things, and I have to describe those 5 things to you without saying the actual word.
Okay, so it's kind of like Pictionary, but without drawing it or whatever.
Yeah, sort of. So if I was like, oh, it's a drink, and when you drink it, you get a little tipsy. It is
Beer.
Exactly. So that's one, and I get pointed out. But you have 30 seconds to describe 5 of these things.
Okay.
So
Right.
like stupid games, but
Yeah.
still we have to have like a moderator behind us reading the card, make sure we're not saying
Oh,
the
right.
actual word in it. And
Yeah,
we say,
yeah.
We go, It's like, oh yeah, it's ridiculous. It's the worst.
Wait, is your family good at it or bad at it?
No, we're awful at it.
Oh.
Really, really bad. And like literally, we're going to be doing it now. What is it? We're recording this mid-December now, so I've about 10 days going to be.
All right, you're very excited, I see.
I'm really excited to have a good fight.
Yeah. Start beating the shit out of people. All right, so, well, here, listen. In Thanksgiving 2016, people were, as usual, traveling across the globe. This is before COVID and all that shit, back in the good old days. Remember pre-COVID days?
God, I haven't talked about COVID.
Before
in
2019.
a long
Yeah, I
time
know.
now. Yeah.
It's like, but things still seem to be getting worse. In 2016, Thanksgiving fell on the 24th of November. That was when the people of Knoxville, Tennessee, they woke up and they turned the ovens on to get that turkey cooking. In the Guy family, dinner preparations had started. The turkey was being prepared, stuffed, ready for the oven, the potatoes boiled, the green bean casserole cooked. The patriarch and matriarch of the Guy family were Lisa and Joel Sr., and they were getting into their seniors. Lisa, 55, Papa Joel, 61. That Thanksgiving, they had their 4 children over. Now, Joel Sr., he had 3 daughters from a previous marriage, Jandice, Michelle, and Angela, and Lisa and Joel Sr. had a son together, 28-year-old Joel Guy Jr., or as the family called him, Joel Michael. Of course, with the family being together finally after some time apart, the 2 parents, the 3 sisters, and young Joel, it's not only loves of word that are exchanged between one another. Sometimes it's topics best discussed in person with the whole family involved. It's a rare time to get the gang together, so it's time to talk about the big issues if you can. And this was the case with the Guy family. Lisa and Joel Sr. had some news for their 4 kids. They were going to retire. Joel was an engineering designer. Lisa, a full-time mother who then, as her children grew, went on to become an accounting administrator. So they were both going to pack those jobs in, sell the family home, move into Joel Sr.'s mother's house. His mother had passed away a few years before. Now, there seemed to have been some agreement around the Thanksgiving dinner table that decision was a good idea. The children were all adults. The 3 daughters, they lived in Tennessee. Their son, Joel Jr., he lived in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. So, happy out.
Couple of killers coming out of Baton Rouge, hasn't there? I know you recently did one, Sean Gillis.
Sean Gillis. I recently covered him in
yeah.
video form for the folks at home, youtube.com/that chapter. Yeah, I did. He's a real sick son of a bitch.
Yeah.
The sickest thing about him is that he went around and he killed a load of women. One of the women, he cut off her hand and he took it home and he used it as a...
Oh, God. Jeez.
Yeah, one of those. Like
Jesus
sex
Christ.
toys. Yeah, he's a really fucked up guy. But yeah, no, there's a few killers. Louisiana, hey, listen. I'm not going to say it, but I think there's a few serial killers down there, my friends.
There is, yeah. I think there's it's either a documentary or a TV program, and it's like Baton Rouge capital serial killer, or serial killer capital, some of that.
Dun, dun.
Basically, there was like 3 apparently like killers within the same time. They kill like.
Oh, that's
multiple
actually
women.
that's Joel. Or we're talking about Joel. No, it's Sean Gillis. Yes, there
He
was
was
two
part of
other
one of
serial
them.
killers
Yeah.
while he was serial killing.
yeah. None of them
Derek
connected,
Dudley, I think, and some other guy. But yeah, they
Yeah.
were like they combined they'd kill like 30 people or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of people being killed.
Mad.
You know what? There's people dying today that never died before. Can you believe that? That's what they say. But yeah, no, it's so is that like supposed to be a spoiler as to where the story is going? That Joel Guy Jr. lived in Baton Rouge.
No, it's just you mentioned Baton Rouge. It just reminded me of it. Sorry, it's a bit of a tangent there.
That's good.
We can cut that.
No, I'm keeping it in. So the family of Holiday had passed in good spirits. In fact, they were already talking about spending the Christmas holiday together. The daughters left on Friday, which was the 25th of November, but Joel Jr., Joel Michael, he decided to stay on for a little longer. And then he also returned to his own home on the 27th, back in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. It was the next day, the 28th, that the shit hit the fan. That was a Monday, and Lisa failed to show up for work. Her boss contacted the police as she could not get hold of Lisa on the phone, she didn't call in sick, and these are things Lisa would have done as a very responsible person, so she wanted a welfare check done.
That's a classic corporate America. You miss one day of work.
Yeah, where the fuck are you?
Send the police.
You better be dead. Police then arrived shortly to the Guy property to carry out this welfare check, and one thing they did notice was a for sale sign present in the front garden. Also, 2 cars were parked at the house, and the light in the foyer was on. The officers then went up to the front door of the house and they knocked on the door, they rang the buzzer, but no response. The house was eerily quiet, yet, as I said, it seemed like the lights were on, but nobody was home. The 2 officers then called for a detective as they had a real suspicious feeling and things were looking off. They went to the neighbors and said, hey, when was the last time you seen the guys, the literal guys? There was a realtor sign, but no realtor lock or box or anything, where they would keep the keys for when they're doing house viewings. Things were just not really adding up. They could see through the windows of the house, and they could see groceries, they could see beers, they could see bacon. Somebody had done some shopping, the good stuff, but all the groceries are just left out there, including stuff which was perishable, like milk, just left out on the counter, like still in the shopping bags. They could tell the house was warm inside. There was also a weird smell coming from it, and a dog was faintly barking somewhere from inside the home.
I think one of the officers said when they felt the window, they could actually feel the heat emanating from the window pane itself.
So that's very hot, because windows are usually kind of cold.
Yes, that's true. It was been roast inside.
The feeling from the house was getting more and more disturbing as the seconds ticked by, and wait till they get inside. They eventually did so when an officer pressed the garage door opener, and they ventured in. And things, just for the folks who I'm just think of whatever gruesome movie you can and then double it.
It's a real horror show. It's a real horror house.
Yeah. House of Horrors, you might say.
House of Horrors, yeah.
Yeah. It's a house that lived murderously, you might say.
We're bringing it back.
I'm keeping this going. I'm keeping it going. Straight away, they could tell something was wrong. As the officers were entering the main area of the house, foyer, the hall, the first thing they noticed was the heat. The temperature was extremely high in the house. It was roasted. It's like the rads, the heating, the air, the HVAC system, whatever they were using was on full whack. There was also a chemical odor emanating from the place. There were random items on the dining area floor as they ventured forth. They found plastic bags, bleach, towels, the dining table. It had some items on it as well, including a couple of wallets. One that belonged to a man, one that belonged to a woman. There was also money on the table, a cell phone, and a hammer. In the kitchen area, the officers found the stove and the oven were on, turned up to high heat. There was also a big pot on top of the stove. It was bubbling, spilling, splashing over. There's a dog barking somewhere in the house. It sounded like it was coming from an upstairs room. It literally seemed like somebody had just been here, walking around the house, had done some shopping, was cooking food, was getting the house nice and warm, and then nothing though. The house was creepily empty. It was eerie. There was no sign of anyone around on the ground floor, and so they proceeded up the stairs. On the stairs were reddish brown stains. Then, on the landing, they stared down the hall, and it was a long hall. At the end of it, an open door. There was blood on the ground and on the walls, and at that open door they could see hands. They ventured down slowly and found that the hands they saw were not attached to anything. The officers then proceeded to clear the house, check for people who would not be there. There was no one. They could find no one. They went into the master bedroom. The bed was made. The bed was neat. The chemical smell was really strong, and there was an additional smell lingering in there as well. Then they went into the ensuite. Plastic sheeting covered the floor. There was a garden hose attached to the shower instead of a normal shower head, and a massive knife in the sink. On the ground, in this bathroom, were 2 large plastic tubs next to each other. Inside those tubs were the dissolving remains of 2 people. By looking at the bodies, they assumed that they were the remains of Lisa and Joel Sr. The house became quite the crime scene and evidence, well, treasure trove, I guess you could say, because what had happened in every single room of the house. At the back door were unopened bin bags, 3 bottles of bleach, muriatic acid, baking soda. A sprayer was beside. Guns and ammo were left laid out on the dining table. Food and groceries were out there. On the staircase were piles of clothing that had been cut up with a knife or scissors. Beside was a bloodstained scissors and a bloodstained knife. In fact, there was blood evidence just about ellipses everywhere. As well as knives and bleach. Evidence of a cleanup, but not like a clean cleanup. As if someone went out, bought a load of bleach, baking soda, cleaning products, all that, but then took one look at the mess they had made and said, "Fuck that." The scene was of such a state that whoever did this, it wasn't like they just wanted to kill Joel Sr. and Lisa, they wanted to annihilate them, dissolve them, remove them from existence. It took authorities 2 days to go through and cover the entire crime scene. Once done, the police had a pretty good idea of what had happened in the home. It was Joel Sr. who had been attacked first, probably sometime late morning on Saturday the 26th of November, inside the gym room of the house. He had suffered dozens and dozens of sharp force injuries when he was being murdered, about 42 altogether. It was hard to determine the exact number of stab wounds due to the dismemberment process that took place post-mortem. Though 34 cuts on his back showed he had suffered them while he was still alive.
The medical examiner at the trial was saying there was no pattern either to these 42 stab wounds on the back. It was just like a frenzy on the back, and said that the maximum depth of these stab wounds was about 6 inches.
Wow.
Deep, yes. Yeah. Some power behind it as well.
Yeah, somebody's really getting in there. He suffered injuries to his lungs, his kidneys, his liver, his ribs. He had multiple cuts on his hands, defensive wounds. He tried to protect himself. He was fighting for his life, and it was a fight he lost. His hands were removed from his body and were left inside the gym where he had been attacked, poking out the door, a grisly find for the police.
Later, during the trial, which we will get to, but during the trial, they show photos of the hands, and the hands are destroyed. You can see just huge lacerations and chunks all over the hand. As I said, he was fighting for his life. It was hard to look at.
Then Lisa arrived home from the store, and she was jumped as she came in the front door. She hadn't even a chance to put the groceries away, and she too was brutally slayed almost as soon as she set foot inside her own home. She suffered at least 25 sharp object wounds. It was hard to determine how many there were just to the level of decomposition and, the dissolving process. She had suffered injuries to her lungs, her left kidney, her liver, to her spine, and, so on and so forth.
Just like Joel Sr. as well, the medical examiner determined that all these stab wounds happened before her death as well.
It's how angry do you have to be, though? I can't even imagine what it must be like to do that to somebody else. What the fuck must be going through your head?
I know, yeah.
Nothing. I imagine it's just nothing is going through these people's heads when they're doing this shit, because there's no way they can be thinking and, I don't know, being able to actually do what they do,
Yeah. Just pure anger.
Yeah.
Rage.
That's it. Seen red. Once both people were dead, the murderer started to carry out the cleanup, which didn't only involve chemicals and mopping up. It got worse. Joel Sr.'s arms were removed at the shoulders. His legs were removed at the hips, and his right ankle was also separated from the rest of his leg. His body parts were then placed inside the chemical bath. Most of his skin dissolved, except for the skin on his back, as that would have been above the broth.
Yeah. The chemical bath as well, it was a homemade acidic solution. So like this isn't like Breaking Bad.
Yeah, where he's like, this kind of chemical pH balance, nerdy shit.
Exactly, yeah, like they weren't using the hydrofluoric acid. Which,
Yeah.
it does, like I think that will dissolve metal, like. But this was it was a concoction of sewer liner cleaner, baking soda, liquid fire drain cleaner, lye, hydrogen peroxide.
So every fucking cleaning product that exists, he's
Just-
like, let's throw it in there,
Pretty
that'll
much,
do.
yeah, just strong acid used for cleaning.
It can
And-
clean a toilet, maybe it can clean a skeleton.
yeah. But with all the chemicals, the home, it was so, like you mentioned that when they went in, there was this strong chemical smell, but the home, it was so hazardous that the investigators had to wear hazmat suits just to process the crime scene.
Jesus, yeah, dangerous stuff to be around. Lisa's arms were also removed at the shoulders, her legs removed at the knees, and her head had been severed. Her body parts were placed inside the other blue tub that had been inside the ensuite bathroom upstairs, inside the chemical bath. But, and this is the really gruesome part of the story, not her head. Her head was found somewhere else in the home. Remember that pot on the stove that was bubbling away? Lisa Guy's head had been simmering in a pot of boiling water for 2 days before it was found. Which I think, and I covered the story years ago, and I still vividly remember the pot and the story.
It's horrendous. And I think what's really unsettling is watching the body cam footage of the police, which you can see if you go to that chapter.
If yes, you can. When I covered the story, the case of Joel Guy Jr., disturbing case, or I can't remember what I called it. Back when the days when all my videos were the case of.
Yeah, but you can see all the body cam
Yeah, you
footage
can see it
there.
all there.
But when they enter and walk through the house for the first time, you can see that pot, which the head is in, and they just walk by it, which is
They
fair
don't-
enough.
Yeah, they
because-
just assume it's just a pot.
You
of
wouldn't think a head's in
boiling
there.
pasta.
Exactly, yeah. And the boiling head, it reminds me a little bit of, do you know the Scottish serial killer, Dennis Nielsen? He'd boil the heads, the hands and the feet of his victims to remove flesh as a way of disposing the body. So I think he'd boil all these extremities and then he'd like flush that down the toilet and then he'd like bury or crush the skulls in the backyard. But yeah, messed up.
So, after all this, the police didn't waste any time checking the CCTV of nearby stores. And what did they see in one particular piece of CCTV footage? Well, a guy walking in whose hands were heavily bandaged, almost like he'd been in a fight, maybe involving knives. And he was a bit of a bigger guy, had a few extra pounds. For those who maybe are H.P. Lovecraft fans at home, I think his stories are very scary and cool and very atmospheric. But one of his stories is The Shadow over Innsmouth, which is probably, in my opinion, his best story. It's my favorite. And he talks about people who have the Innsmouth look. And essentially, to cut a long story short, they're kind of like half fish, half people. It's like they have like droopy eyes, fishy eyes.
Yeah.
Their face is like very saggy. That's kind of what he looked like. And that guy was Joel Guy Jr. Just Google him.
That's a really good description. I can see that.
You can see it. Like, just
Yeah.
Google Joel Guy Jr. and tell me he doesn't look kind of like a fish. Like if he had the Innsmouth look. He just has this really weird... It's very hard to explain, but if you know the description from that Lovecraft story, it'll match. On Tuesday, the 29th of November, an arrest was made all the way over in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. The person being charged with the first-degree murders was no one other than Joel Guy Jr. himself. Authorities identified him as a suspect with the aid of the Walmart security video that appeared to show him purchasing items located within the residence that were apparently used in the attempted destruction of the crime scene. When they arrested him, they found his hands were covered in cuts and nicks. Inside his car, they also recovered a meat grinder and a gasoline canister. So, what had happened? Well, as it turned out, he had a different plan originally than what he ended up doing. But police think that due to his injuries, his hands being cut to shit, Joel Jr. decided to leave the crime scene unfinished on Sunday, November 27th, when he left to go back to Baton Rouge.
I can't believe he went back to Baton Rouge and left the stove on.
Yeah.
That's totally
so
irresponsible.
stupid. That is very dangerous, Joel. Come on.
Could have burned the house down.
Exactly. Oh my god. Now, Joel had made quite the plan. I mean, which is kind of surprising when you look at him. He doesn't look like the kind of guy who planned things. In fact, he wrote it all down, if you can believe that. A 5-page detailed script called The Book of Premeditation. That was found in his house. He had left it inside his bag. He was like the fucking worst killer ever. Like, he just left all the shit. He was like, oh, I'll just leave it and hope that I don't get linked to it. And I'll also leave the book where I detail how I'm going to do it. I'll also leave that there too.
Yeah. Just left all the evidence just out.
Yeah, he's such a fucking idiot. So here's like some excerpts from his book. Get killing knives. Quiet. Multiple. To make small pieces. Get carving knives. To make small pieces. Get sledgehammer. Crush bones. Bring blender and food grinder. Grind meat. Get bleach. Denature proteins. Get plastic bin for denaturation process. Does not matter where they're killed. Just get rid of bloody spots to prevent evidence of time of death. Not the mattress or couches. Get rid of bodies inside the house. There and my DNA's already there. Flush chunks down toilet. Not garbage disposal. He's not alive to claim her half of the insurance money. All mine. $500,000. Flood the house. Covers up forensic evidence. Turn heater up as high as it goes. That speeds decomposition. Bleach reacts with luminol just like blood. So douse area with bleach. Big sprayer to do so.
I like how he wrote it all down.
Yeah, bullet point
And then
style.
just half-assed everything.
Yeah. And didn't do half of the shit he actually said he was supposed to do.
Barely did it. Also, I think it's really funny how specific he got by saying get killing knives, as if he like accidentally grabbed like a butter knife instead.
Oh, exactly. Oh, that won't do. Just trying to kill his dad and like.
I'm not gonna make that
spread
mistake
butter.
again.
Yeah.
But in the plans, he initially wrote down to open the doggy door so it would look like an intruder came in and killed him as well. However, he changed his mind about this and he just scribbled it out.
He's like, fuck it, it's too much effort.
That's not a good plan.
Yeah.
So his new plan was to make it look like the father had killed the mother and then burned down the house. That's why there was gas canisters all around the house. And it seemed like he was going to use the water heater as well to either start a fire or flood the house. He had pages about how water heaters worked in his backpack, but...
So he was going to set the house on fire and also flood the house. That seems kind of like opposing theories.
He's going to fight fire with water.
Yeah, exactly. That good old one.
Does make sense. Also, it's worth noting this wasn't a plan that he came up with just over Thanksgiving. So Lisa and Joel Sr., they'd mentioned to the family that they were thinking of retiring in late October. And this is actually when Joel Jr. started collecting equipment for the murder. So he spent quite a bit of time planning this.
Yeah.
And with these types of family annihilator cases, the perpetrator, they have a real sense of entitlement about them.
Yeah.
They appear to view the family members as like their own property, and this desire to control the family or the family finances is threatened. They act out against the family in a real violent and fatally way, like
murderously way.
Might
even say. According to family members and a friend of Joel, Michael Jr., he had a friend. Fucking hell, poor bastard. He was always an outsider. He never really got in with the family. He never made any effort to stay in touch with his family. And after some years, his family thought the same about him. Except his dear mother, Lisa. She would call him all the time during his school years, sending him money, paying for his accommodation, paying for his studies, where he was training to become a plastic surgeon, which is just fucking totally bizarre. She would keep his childhood toys, even though he was... How old was he, Joel Guy Jr., by the way?
28, 29?
He was 28 when he committed the murders. So he was, like, old enough to not keep his fucking childhood toys. Or at least, not kind of, give a shit about them, I suppose, at that point anymore. Joel Guy Jr. pled not guilty to the 2 first-degree murder charges that were filed against him, and he went on trial in 2020. As it turns out, Joel Jr.'s parents decided to cut him off from his allowance. They wanted to sell the house and retire, start closing down the money factory, and I guess Joel Jr., they thought it was finally time for him to stand on his own 2 feet. And I guess he thought very fucking differently.
Honestly, it's about time that they decided to cut him off.
I mean, he's 28. He was in college, studying to become
He had no interest in getting a job. He was relying on his parents financially his whole life. As you mentioned, you touched on it, not only did they pay for his schooling, but his housing, food, car, textbooks, sell everything. He paid for everything.
Yeah.
I'm sure at the beginning, they, didn't mind giving Joel a hand, giving him a bit of financial support. They were pretty well off. They weren't rich, but they were doing okay for themselves. I guess they were hoping supporting Joel financially would, allow him to focus on the studies a bit more.
No, it doesn't seem it. I've seen this done before and it doesn't really work. A lot of people do know. They just take it as like an excuse to even be fucking lazier.
That's it. It doesn't work, and it didn't work. Joel took the absolute piss. He started university in 2006, but by 2016, 10 years later, he still hadn't graduated.
Yeah.
So at this point, his parents were starting to feel the financial burden of supporting Joel all these years, and Joel was spending his parents' money just hand over fist like it was his own. At one point, Joel's mother was sending her entire weekly paycheck directly into his bank account.
Jesus.
And then to add insult to injury, he dropped out of university. So he didn't even graduate, he just dropped out. But he still expected them to fund his lifestyle. His parents, they would try having these conversations with him about getting a job, but he would just become enraged. And he was just, he was a moocher.
Yeah.
Like they should have cut him off a long time ago. In the end, though, as you mentioned, they decided to force Joel's hand. They planned to retire early and sell the house, which, as we know, he did not take too well.
No, he was not too keen on that old plan. I'll tell you that for free. He planned to commit the murders for insurance purposes. Lisa had a $500,000 life insurance policy. Here's my favorite. Insert life insurance dance here, please.
Do the dance.
Yeah.
It's not a lot of money. Like, that barely get, like, that would get your house and that's it.
Like $500,000, it is a lot of fucking money, but it's not like you still need a job. You know what I mean? You can't live off of the rest of your life.
Well, I mean, it's not a lot of money. Like, I don't have it, but like,
but yeah, like it's, you know what I mean? For him, he's never going to get a job.
It's not set you up for life money. It's
exactly.
Like, you get a house, but then it's also, you still need to get a job after
exactly.
that.
You still need to work to live.
Yeah.
You could live off that for a couple of years. I mean, maybe like a decade if you were really stringent. His plan was to kill his mother and make his dad disappear. The police would blame the murder on his dad and be looking for someone who would, well, have been dissolved in acid. But Joel made the decision that both his parents had to be gone for him to receive the entire amount of money. He detailed his parents' assets, what they had, and what he was hoping to get. He asked for the death penalty if he was found guilty, which he was. Joel Michael was found guilty by the jury on all 7 counts. He was sentenced to life in prison for the 2 counts of first-degree premeditated murder, 1 count of felony murder for killing Lisa Guy while committing first-degree murder of Joel Guy Sr., and 2 counts of felony murder while committing theft. He was also charged with an additional 4 years imprisonment for the abuse of corpse charges. Now, of course, his lawyers argued against consecutive sentencing and the additional 4 years. The defense said that Joel Michael had no prior criminal history and he would be an old-ass man by the time of his release, meaning no danger to society by that point. But the judge did not buy this because, I mean, with the shit he did, I mean, he had no criminal history, yet he still did it, so,
Like, during the trial as well, like, when they were showing the images of the house and the bodies, like, it shows him looking at it and his eyes open up and he's just like, he's enjoying it nearly.
Yeah.
Like, reliving it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. He's got that real fucking disturbing look. So the judge said, I don't think his mind is going to change. Quite frankly, I think if it was 300 years, it wouldn't be sufficient. I don't see potential for rehabilitation for Mr. Guy. I was watching him during the trial. He showed absolutely no remorse or despair over seeing what he had done. Quite frankly, Mr. Guy, you look like you're kind of proud of what you've accomplished.
You know, initially, Joel, he filed a motion to serve as his own counsel.
That'll work well.
Right? He stated that he wanted to represent himself so he could file a motion to receive the death penalty if found guilty, which I feel is just attention-seeking, kind of feeling sorry for himself behaviour.
I think so, because, I mean, even, so we mentioned, like, the stuff during the trial, there was no defense.
No.
Literally, they did not do anything. They offered no evidence to stop. Like, there was no such thing. There was no defense at all.
There really wasn't. Like, when he requested to be his own counsel, the judge, he said he wanted to have good legal representation, I guess. And he said he would still let him file his motion for the death penalty if he reinstated his lawyers, which Joel Jr. agreed to. But it didn't, I don't think it made a difference him having lawyers there.
Yeah.
Because they were kind of useless. They didn't have a clear defense at all. As he said, his lawyer actually tried his best to prove he was not guilty. He argued prosecutors did not get handwriting analysis done for the 5-page plan they found in Joel's backpack, at the crime scene, in his room.
Yeah.
I mean,
who else? It could have been anybody who did that.
You know, like, I understand there's a reasonable doubt, but like, come on.
Yeah.
Also, the victims were found murdered by the exact same way as described in his plan, and Joel Jr. was seen on CCTV buying the equipment mentioned in the plan.
Yeah.
Also, there were other books found in the backpack which had Joel Jr.'s name written on the inside. So it's not like it was someone else's backpack. It's clearly his backpack. He had his name written all over the books. And then another thing, like putting aside the writing analysis, if you look at the actual context of what had been written, it says her life insurance and I get the whole thing.
Yeah.
Like, why would anybody else say that? His defense team also presented a picture of Joel 2 days before the murder, which showed him smiling and happy. And he basically said, look how happy it is. He's a smiling person. How could he murder anyone?
Exactly. Happy people don't kill.
Right, exactly, yeah. All is well that ends well. And he was found guilty and sentenced to life in prison, so...
Indeed he was. And even in prison, he threatened his cellmate to gouge his eyes out. And that is the story of Joel Guy Jr. Real sick piece of shit. But, you know, there you go.
Yeah.
Fuck him. He's done.
Didn't I like him?
I'm putting my leg in the chair for the folks at home. Let the record show. I'm putting my leg in the chair. Chilling like a villain.
Nice.
I know.
I guess moral of the story is trust no one, not even your family, but especially your family.
Not even your family, but especially not your family. So what do you want to talk about now, Keith?
I don't know. Do you want to watch a movie?
Oh, I got some recommendations thanks to sorry. Somebody was messaging me. Oh, goddamn, sorry. Oh, on Patreon. That's who it was. Sorry, bear with me. They were saying there's some good movies you and I should watch.
While you're looking up that, I don't know if this is new news. It's new to me though. I know that Robert Edgers is working on that new vampire movie.
Nosferatu. Yeah, he's making one. Yeah. I've heard. That's good.
I love The Witch, and I've seen the one with the lighthouse. He's really good. I really enjoy him as a director. I think
he's good. Yeah. I mean, The Witch and the Lighthouse are fucking rule. Oh man. Okay. Yeah. Sorry. It was Riker Jet. DM'd me. They said there's a movie called Talk to Me we should watch.
Oh,
and I've seen the trailers for it.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it yet. He said it was really good.
Okay,
They said it was really good. And I really want to see it.
Yeah, let's check that out.
Yeah, I know. Trailers have looked really fucking cool. It's like a creepy hand or something. How about you and I? We solve Roll's problems now. We don't talk about it, Keith. The folks that don't want to listen, I feel like we don't. If we finish up talking out, the episode will be too short, so we have to keep talking.
Wait, what time are we at?
Probably at like 40 something minutes, maybe 30 something minutes after editing.
Nah, that's right.
No, fuck it. I want to give the audience their money's worth.
What do you want to talk about?
I already asked you. You can't Uno card me that question.
Well, I just did it.
Well, okay. How about we should do a Q&A. That's what we should do. I mean, I can't do it right now, but we should do questions and answers like with the folks at home.
That's a good idea. Yeah.
Yeah. They want to ask. They want to know questions about you.
And you as well, I presume.
Sure. I'm not interested. You don't care about me.
I'm definitely not interested.
Well, all right. Well, have you got any good Christmas stories now that it's Christmas time? Or it's actually New Year time, I suppose, when this episode goes out.
No, not really. Like, most of my Christmas stories are just going to the pub, having a couple of drinky poos. That's it, yeah. I am looking forward to Christmas. It's gonna be nice to go out now and do the usual. Go out, have a couple of drinks, see everyone again in the old hometown.
Cool. All right. Well, I guess I'll end the episode there.
Yeah.
This is going nowhere.
You probably should end the while back.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much for listening to the folks at home. Remember, a new episode of the That Chapter podcast every Monday morning. And new episodes of That Chapter videos every Tuesday and Friday. Until I say I don't want to put one up on a Friday or I'm too tired. But usually every Tuesdays and Fridays. So yeah, but until the next episode, what are we going to be talking about in the next episode of the podcast, Keith? Can we give them a little sneaky peek? We have a load of topics ready. We've got some crazy old school murders from turn of the century. We got some modern ones.
I do enjoy the old history ones.
I love the history ones because they're so epic. They have such an epic feel to them. There's some more stories like similar to Joel Guy Jr. and Adam Strong, like ones I've covered on YouTube, but I've had updates.
Yeah, we'll do a couple more modern ones as well. Yeah.
Up-to-date ones. Not fucking talking about witches for a while, let me tell you.
I know, yeah. I'm gonna do witches. Until next year.
Yeah, but you did get me a cool Matthew Hopkins shirt, which I am very proud to wear. So that's cool. All right, thanks so much for listening.
See ya.
All right, you've been great. Thanks.
Gung gung.